Hey all, welcome one and all. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe if you want to subscribe. Like or dislike this videos or any of the videos. Uh, Comment, leave any comments if you want. I do read my comments. I do look at them. I do try to answer them as well too. If you do leave any questions in the comment or leave any feedback for that matter, that'd be great. Topic at hand, I would say, is basically right now is AI, but more specifically AI with movie generations. I think I read somewhere that there's some software now that's coming out where you're able to have AI create movies for you in a ways to the point where, like, I don't want to say it does the story writing, but at least generating the movements based off of text and such, generating, like scenes again as well too through text, is an interesting concept actually. Real question is how well does it produce? And the other aspect as well too is the likeness of the characters. If an AI generates a character that's not based off anyone else but has some likeness or resemblance to a person, does that person who the character resembles, or even looks like very closely matches to that person, does that person get some sort of residual paycheck or some form of payment as a result of it too? It's one of those things where if you make enough of a description, then the AI will start constructing um, those characters. Um, but the question is how constructing those characters. What is it basing off? It's basing off of images that it's seen of other people, basically. So at that point, it's basically generating the characters or generating the models off the characters, off of images that it's seen. So it's an interesting question, actually. I mean, honestly, if it's a case where, like, if you were to create a sort of AI version of yourself just by describing you, like, if you were to basically have AI to generate a realistic image of you based on descriptions that are input as features, will it come to resemble you or maybe resemble someone else? Um, That's an interesting thing. But in reality, what comes down to is this: is like, yeah, if you have AI generating movies at that point and it resembles not actors but other real life people, do those people get some form of compensatory, um, well, not compensatory damage, but more of, like, payment, basically compensation for it? Um, it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting subject, to be honest with you. I mean, AI is becoming more and more bigger than, it's getting a lot more steam. And the thing is, don't be surprised using AI to generate movies might be more cheaper than actually hiring actors and going through studios and all that stuff. I mean, if it's able to, like, generate kind of like what a Pixar aspect is right now, and, like, nowadays these video games are becoming so realistic that AI, could generate movies with characters that are realistic enough, very close to being realistic, that you may not need actors anymore. Well, you'll still need voice actors. The question is, will AI also generate the voices themselves too, and as well as some of the mannerisms that are involved based on text? Um, Actually, it does pose another interesting factoid as well too. Like, you have the aspect of generating the character, like likeness of the character, but then there's also the voice aspect. If AI also generates the voice and it resembles someone's voice, does that person get it? Um, or do you have it base it off the person? You just hire, person's image and voice, and then let it build off of that. It might be cheaper that way too, but at the same, and the thing is, you're not paying for the person's acting ability. You're just basically paying for their likeness at that point. And it might be cheaper for studios, honestly, at that point. But I mean, I don't know how much cheaper, because I mean, if you just take a still image of a person for like 5 minutes and you pay him $20,000, if the movie generates, and it let's say costs with the AI modeling at that point $1 million to $2 million. A question is then at that point, unless the movie makes $10 million, At least that's fuzzy math, of course, in this situation. Is it worthwhile at that point? And then at that point, then some quote unquote models then will start asking, it's like, oh well, you know what, I want $1 million instead of $20,000, etc. Basically, or a percentage of the movie, basically. But it does open up other aspects of like more now focusing on the writing and less on the acting, which is what it was. Remember, back in the day, you really didn't really know actors or actresses in the days of your. It was mostly knowing the playwrights. In this case, that's William Shakespeare, the one and foremost aforementioned person. Basically, you know him well more than anything else. Um, Writers nowadays here is okay. You're a writer, but how well of a writer are you versus how well of a writer and director are you, or how well of a writer and actor are you? That's what it's coming down to now. So, uh, being a playwright would be great to the point where like now you're focusing on just the medium of writing versus acting and directing for that matter. If the AI handles that, then you're pretty much eliminating certain positions here and there, and as well as like other aspects of key grips, locations, and such. I mean, you are affecting an industry considerably, to the point where how long before the unions start getting involved, saying, "Hey, you can't use AI, etc." Um, do not be surprised that uh, 2 years from now, 2 years from now, that there will be a movie that was totally generated by AI, and it might be most likely uploaded on YouTube or some other medium, that it gains so much popularity and generates so much buzz around it that other movie studios are going to start looking at this and like, oh, hey, hold on, we can do this too, and it's just a matter of the software as well that's being used. And then at that point, like maybe Disney starts creating their own software at that point, and like I mean, they are a software company more and more nowadays. Um, I mean, they did buy Major League Baseball Advanced Media's technology of streaming to build out Disney Plus, which was pretty impressive, act to be honest. I mean, Major League Baseball's Advanced Media's streaming technology was on top of their game. They do, as far as real time streaming as well too, which is impressive. Netflix, of course, built their own. YouTube, Google's trying to build their own, and Fubo TV, etc. Basically, and Hulu Live, all that basically. But it's a matter of now trying to build the aspect of having AI software with not all the hardware, but using a lot more of the software to generate these, to generate these models. But of course, with AI, machine learning involves historical data. So, which means you have to like look through, using DNNs, going through all these images and such. And the question is like some of these images are going to be stock photos. You're not just going to, you, or in this case, using like Facebook photos or Instagram photos. Do not be surprised if Facebook Meta probably does something like this. I mean, that could be a possibility actually too, where you could generate more revenue by creating AI generated movies off of images that they own. Because remember, when you upload images to Facebook made up Meta, Facebook, Instagram, etc., in the disclaimer, they own those images at that point, so they can do whatever they want to it. Same thing with Google and Instagram. What else? And TikTok, for that matter. They own it at that point. You as a user do not own that data at that point. So do not be surprised where Meta and Google starts jumping into generating movies at that point as well too through AI. Um, I mean, right now Google's like going all in at this point right now after Chat GPT came out. It can become really disruptive. It is going to be disruptive to the point where like I don't know how Google can generate revenue off of something like that. Like AI search bots, or yeah, chatbots basically, AI chatbots. When you ask a question like as a Google in a Google search, like, hey, how do you do this? It'll come back with the results, telling you exactly versus showing you links. The thing is, with those links, you get paid ads associated to them as well too. Now in this case, it's like if it's spewing out information to you to the point where like they don't have to show ads because like no one's going to see ads at that point, how do you generate revenue at that point? It's a question of like how much do those services become more paid at that point, premium versions of it, anyways. But that's a different discussion altogether. But right now, it's just more of a case of like AI and movie making at this point. Um, it's something interesting, I would say, to say the least, and it's something that in 2 years' time, I think we'll start seeing more and more of these AI generated movies more than anything else. But outside of that, yeah, I mean, let me know your thoughts on it. Leave any feedback. So it'd be more if you have any thoughts or questions. I mean, if you ask a question about it, I don't have the expertise in this, to be quite honest, but I will try to find out for you. And again, I don't do any fact checking here. This is stuff that I'm basing it off of some stuff, things I've read here and there, basically, and quick headline look as well too. But honestly, if you want to know more, you could do a little research. I mean, but you can leave a comment though, as far as like what your thoughts are on this. Um, it'd be great to find out and interact with this and involving this. Basically, AI is pretty much a big thing now. But with that, as always, how I'll leave it off is unfiltered, unedited, and unrehearsed. Until next time.